In this video, we're going to discuss the vendor behavior. Alright, so as you can see, I've set up some vending machines here. The only one that has the behavior is our 7-down machine. And I'm just going to press the E button to dispense the item. There we go. So simple as that, you can create a little vending object and it'll spit out, whatever object you want it to vend. Make these collectible objects and pick them up and have them in our inventory if we have that set up. One other alternative option would be some other device that vends something, right? So I set up a bowling alley as like a demonstration of using this behavior in a way that isn't just a vending machine, right? So for instance, a ball return, right? If we press E, we get our ball. I can pick my ball up and bring it over here. I gotta right click, and then let's see if I can get a strike on the first try. Oh, very close, but I get another turn. See how it's taking turns each time? Okay, so I only get 2 turns at this. The way bowling works. So let's see if we can pick up the spare. Yay, got it. All right. So, it's just another way to look at this behavior. It doesn't, I would encourage you to look at these behaviors in such a way that, focus less on what it says and more on what it does. And if you do that, then I think you're going to come up with all kinds of creative uses for every sort of behavior. But with that said, let's take a look and see just how this is all set up. Here's our vending machine. Now, the first thing I want to point out is notice the placement of the item that it's vending. This is where it's going to appear when it's vended. So same thing with the ball. See how the ball is there? It's invisible to start, but when you vend it, that's where it shows up. So, where you place it matters. These objects are, collectible objects in this case. As a soda, but it's also a dynamic object, physics on. The collision shape allows it to roll. It's not a mobile, so it can move, but it doesn't need a behavior of its own. In this case, I added a behavior for collect so I could pick it up, but bowling ball doesn't have a behavior. It's just a dynamic object. All right, so here is the behavior. Let's just step through the parameters. So we have prompt text. That's the text that you see on the screen when you're within range of the item that has the behavior on it. The prompt range, which is just how close do you have to be in order to get that prompt text. Now, the noise range has to do with enemy AI. So if you were to have a scene where there are enemies in the scene, and this item is making a noise, this noise range is basically how far does that noise carry, and it could alert an enemy in that case. So there's the vendor animation slot that in my case isn't available because I don't have any animations for this particular item. It's just some item I found on Sketchfab. But if your machine, whatever it is, has some sort of animation, then you could select the animation that you want it to play at that point right there. Otherwise, you'll just see this, no choices available. The vendored max quantity, that's how many items can this machine vend. So if I had enough money, I could buy all of the items in the machine. So that's the max quantity. The vendored entity cost, how much does it cost? That is referencing basically the user global that's affected, which we'll get to in a minute. But how many of whatever global you're using as currency is it going to cost to vend each item? Vendored entity lifespan. So let's suppose I purchased the soda and it rolls out of the machine, but I never pick it up. How long should it stick around before it just gets, swept up by the janitor or what have you? So that's just the lifespan of the item. If you don't, pick it up, put it in your inventory. You have the vendored entity name. This is important. You have to reference the name of the object that you want it to vend. Otherwise it won't do anything. So make sure you're getting that labeled correctly. The user global affected, we touched on this earlier. It's just what global is it going to use as its currency, so to speak. So in the beginning, you saw that I had my money or cash or whatever I called it, and then I had turns. And I used turns over here as a separate user global. So you can create whatever global you want, reference that as the variable that it uses as its quote unquote currency. Okay. Then you have when empty. So the default is do nothing. You could also destroy the vendor. Again, kind of depends on your scenario and how you want it to work. But in this case, it wouldn't make any sense to destroy the object. So I told it to do nothing. Vending delay. I interact with the object, and a few seconds later, it vends the item. And the reason that's important is your audio may have some sounds preceding the sound of the vending, right? So in my case, I created a sound. I kind of cut up a sound that I found on freesound.org so that you'd hear the coin operation and then you would hear the vending sound a few seconds later. And then I just, changed this number to be in line with that vending operation. So that's there for flexibility so that you can time it just right and make it sound and look like it's, all together. Now you have 3 sound slots here, and if you look at the description, it tells you the first sound is activation sound. So I could have also done something different. I could have made the coin mechanism sound the activation sound, and then the dispensing sound as the vending sound. And then if the item is empty, then I could also have some other sort of sound like a buzz or something to indicate that it's empty. There's nothing else that it can vend. I decided not to do that. I felt like it was just easier to make one sound for the full thing for the timing, but it's up to you. It just depends on, again, your scenario and what works best for you. But that is it. That is the vendor behavior explained. If you enjoyed the video or if you learned anything new, please be sure to click the like button down below. Helps me out. If you're new here or if you just haven't subscribed yet, would love to have you stick around. Please be sure to subscribe. And lastly, if you'd like a notification for whenever new videos are posted, just click the bell icon and that'll let you know when a new video is ready. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey, don't forget there's a written guide for every behavior, including ones I haven't yet covered on this channel. And if you want to learn some more, why don't you check out this video next.